Hi again, everyone. So, snowy day, um, taking advantage of the daylight while it's here. So, and the natural light, it's so beautiful. So, this is another video about bookmaking. So, here is another book that I made. This one is a Coptic bound book, and it's a journal. So, I knew that I was going to go on a retreat this summer, and as a Zen practitioner, usually you don't bring any books or journals or anything to write with into your retreat. But this time I was going to a Tibetan retreat, and bringing a journal was on the suggested list. And I thought, well, I don't need any excuse to bring a journal. That sounds like a great idea. So I decided immediately to undertake making a book. So I wanted to make a book and a journal for that particular retreat. Although you can see, like, my background working in Zen has really greatly affected my artistic style and the way that I view things. So this journal is at great risk of having stuff fall out of it, but just as a quick tour, this will be easier. We've got the inside cover, and the way the light's reflecting is great because you can see that what I've done is use a piece of wrapping paper to create the inside cover. And I should say the outside cover is rust dyed with tea. So tea was the medium to get the rust to come through. And that's a piece of linen. And then most of the threads and stuff that I used were from different projects where I was using plain white thread just to I'm getting ahead of myself. Plain white thread to wrap and bind bundles of plants, and it ends up really beautifully tea stained in different shades and colors, and it's very exciting. Anyhow, here is the black paper I used, so you can see like all of the different signatures are bound with the black paper around the outside, but then on the inside of the signatures you get a lot of different other stuff. So I don't think I'm going to end up with anything too personal here that comes through. Here is this page I just love because that's where I've used the string to bind a bundle of paper, and so I just put an antique looking anatomical heart on it. I'm a big fan of anatomical hearts, and the Heart Sutra. That's some writing. I think we'll just skip through that. But anyway, this would be a paper bag. I like using recycled paper bags a lot. And then I used another heart and continued to journal, but journaled, I think, according to which side of the heart is the vein and which is the artery in the according color, because that was fun. There's watercolor paper in here as well, more heart. And then you start to see, I'm backing it up because this is where this is where we get all of the writing coming through. But obviously we got some eco prints coming along through here too. A little bit of coloring. This is random because I'm a little bit that way myself. So like I'll skip pages because I don't know, something about this just feels right. Something is anatomical. The pages here feel, I don't know, especially this side where the eco print is, that feels like a spine, and it's not. It's from a bush that we have outside. Also, this print I love. These are weeds. I don't remember. It's maybe even just bindweed. But it came from my partner's front yard. And I remember we just did some weeding, and I pulled it out and decided to bind it and see how it would print. So lots and lots of different things. I took notes all the way through this particular retreat. Which was a lot of fun, different colors of writing, which you can see. I'm looking for the really good pages that are fun. I think this was a quote from a book, and I just decided to do it in white. Ooh, that's a beautiful page. And the writing, it's interesting to me. I did it in pencil because I like to be able to read the writing, but I also don't want to lose the beauty of, those aren't things I need to worry about, the beauty of the print underneath. And so you see where I started to use black and orange and stuff, some of the print starts to be inaccessible. I think it's still really pretty. I think I used that color because obviously we were talking about Ratna, and the color for Ratna in the Tibetan tradition is yellow, and I thought orange would be better than yellow on that page. I still put Post-its in with information. Let's see. And obviously this is a great way to also just kind of stick things in that feel relevant. You know, this was remembering a couple of the mandalas and the positions as I studied for those, because we took an exam at the end of the retreat. Reading and taking notes about Naropa. So it's really very much, oops, a piece of paper fly out. It's a very Buddhist themed, or Saraha. There we go. I put Saraha in that kind of, I think that's purple or blue. Anyway, it's readable on the black. And as I finished the retreat, at some point here, I actually started doing like drawing mandalas in there. And I wish I'd considered how much that was going to impact the page next to it. But by the same point, I don't really mind. I don't know. And that was on this side, this side, it was an eclipse stamp. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but I was having kind of an eclipse dark moment where I wasn't seeing much light. So making a mandala around that and just embracing it anyway was a really wonderful thing to do. I've forgotten how many things I had stashed in this journal. Anyway, that was a fun way to make a journal and a notebook. I'm not finished with it by any means. I still have a lot of things that I can write in here and put in here, and it's definitely the journal that I'm using as part of my, pardon me, I've got something that fell on the floor, part of my Tibetan experience. Anyway, that was way longer than I ever intended. Sometimes that happens. So that is an example of doing Coptic bound. I do a lot of Coptic bound books and journals. I really love the way they turn out, and obviously you can open them and they lie flat. So if you're writing in them, it's very convenient. And I have another one that's very similar that's in progress that I thought I would go ahead and show, because it's, I'm working on getting this one bound. It's not going to be identical. It's already kind of been written in and so on, but here are the signatures. It's not going to be quite as thick as that one. Inside of each of these signatures, let's go ahead and take this view again. There are different things. So this was a particular, actually it might be better to come back up again. So very different stuff inside of this one. I had a particular batch of pieces that I did of that was where I'm all over the map here, folks. Pardon me. There's things going on outside my house. I think somebody's out there shoveling, and I don't know which direction it's coming from. Anyway, these were from different batches of eco prints, and I used a big piece of oak. Wood that was, I don't know, from something that got chopped. It may have been walnut, actually, as I'm looking at this. And I used binder clips, you can tell. You get the outline of the binder clips. So this one was not done with that. And then I also included work that I've done in mark making. So this is with brushes. This would have been with something from nature, probably, I can't tell which one I would have used, but it's using sumi ink to do that. This side, it's rusted paper, like trash bag paper, or rather shopping bag paper. And in this case, I think it's a key. Yeah, a key and maybe some nails and some tea that was used to rust it. And then we've got something that I wrote. It's kind of asemic looking at the moment on black paper. And there's more pencil writing on this side. Probably it's all Heart Sutra. I think it's all Heart Sutra. and then the leaf from this die batch, which is so striking. I feel like this die batch, it just came out with a really unusual, oh, it's gorgeous. It's the center page. It's like black and orange, and I think that's pretty visible here. It's not always clear to me why a particular batch will turn out a certain way. And it's kind of the magic of this process. And there's the other half of all of this. So the other back of this rusted garbage bag and the mark making paper and a bit of the Heart Sutra and so on, right? And to the back. So we don't need to go through the whole thing, but here I think I was intending to like stick this tea bag. This is a tea bag that I did some mark making on with sumi ink because it's just fun to do. And the whole book is like that, really. It's already made, there's already marks everywhere all the way through it, and I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, or how that's going to turn out. It's just, that's where it is right now, and these are the pages that I wanted to put together into it. So probably this one will be just, kind of like its own little work of art. Then for making the inside, here is a piece of wrapping paper from Christmas, same wrapping paper. I think I must have had some left over and I really like it. And I wrapped something, probably a book for my dad in it. And anyway, I'll be using some of this and just kind of taking it apart very gently. I don't even worry about taking the tape off of the paper, as you can clearly see. So that will go on the inside cover. And then to make the covers of these books, I take a piece of cloth that I've treated. In this case, it's got that same kind of color scheme, although this is not the exact one I'm using for this book. This is for yet another one. But similar color scheme. I think initially I was worried about drawing in the blue on the inside cover, and then I decided I don't care. So I chose to make this for another book. But it's almost done with all the stitching and stitch work, which is why I thought I'll go ahead and just show like how this one will turn out. And I really just play with the stitching and the loose ends and so on. So this particular book that I was showing you, this will be the front cover. And this has got black linen on it that's pinned in place because I haven't actually stitched it. I'll have to do an after video once it's done. Again, the color is, I can see my camera's kind of messing up a little here. Let's see if I can pull out a really beautiful piece of that paper. Here we go. You can see, hopefully, maybe I'll try lifting it so it's not so much glare. So this is upside down, but you can see the colors here and the colors here are very, very similar. So because of that, I chose to combine the two. So hoping that will be a really nice combo, and then this will be the back. Got the smaller piece that's pinned there. Okay. And then while we're at it, here's another one I did, because it's just fun to play show and tell. I love show and tell. So here is a piece that I did with oak. This is silk on the outside. And on this one, I just chose to try going ahead and I can't remember what these things are called, but I put them in the cardboard and bound it. And then I used some recycled corrugated cardboard on the inside. And then here's a first page with the string. And this is an oak book. So this whole book is oak leaves. And we get different shades of oak and colors. This turned out gray, but this one turned out brown. Again, how much iron is in the dye pot or in the pot that I use to boil, all of the stuff, all the paper with its stuff in it, that gives us a sense of like how much, you know, the color will veer towards this gray color or more towards, you know, and there's more of that gray, or more towards like the brown yellow color where there's very little iron in there. With this beautiful pink color, which comes from avocado skin and pit dye, you have to have rust. You have to have iron in there, or it won't. It just won't set. It won't be permanent on cloth. It will be on paper, not on cloth. The more you use, the more purple or kind of red it goes. The less iron you use in the avocado skin and pit dye, the more of a like salmon color you get. So a lot more yellow in it. So as you can see, like that's how that starts to function. Yeah, and there's the back. So that's my oak book, oak leaf book. Love oaks. They make me happy. And then finally, is it final yet? It's almost final. How long are we going? We're already in 16 minutes. I think this should be final. Finally, here's a book I did that is not eco prints. It has a big thing of London on it. It's one of the first ones I ever made, really, where I decided to go ahead and do the Coptic binding. And the stitching, there's a lot of stitching in it, and I'll show you why. Because when you open it up, a lot of these pages are stitched together. So we get different look and feel for all the pages. I'd forgotten that I even made this book. And I found it the other day and thought, wow, what a fun book. I think I'll pull that out. Again, I just have this fondness for working with like paper bags and a lot of recycled paper. I know that in here, although, oh, here's some. That's a recycled wrapping paper, but it's more like it's not like a natural paper. It's not a typical wrapping paper stock style. A lot of this is, you know, scrapbook paper, and so forth, but to get it all to be the right size, you know, I just had to be creative. And it was a lot of fun. I remember I had a great time making this. Hopefully I'll have a great time using it as well. So I think this book will probably, you know, it's marvelous. It's like all uneven here. It doesn't have a front page, because I only for some reason decided to do the cover here and just use like old matte paper that you can buy, or matte, you know, matting that you would use for framing photographs is what's here. And I don't know why I just didn't do the back as a cover, but I'll probably find some kind of piece of really nice wrapping paper to do this page, kind of cover that up. And I think this will probably turn into some kind of an interesting mix of like writing and what's the other word I want to use for it? Collaging. I think that was what I wanted to say. So I will keep you updated as to what this one turns into as well. And there will be more book videos to follow. Okay. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you want to know more about, again, I've been saying this a lot, but it's the truth. I don't have a lot of subscribers or watchers of my videos yet. So if you want to leave a question in the comments, I will get back to you as quickly as I can with an answer or a video response. Okay. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching.